So, this is Susan Creighton for the Vermont Folklife Center. I'm sitting here at dinner with Daniel Popowich, Dorothy Cummings, and my husband Doug Creighton. And Daniel and Doug are going to talk about their tradition at the ale of whiskey and cigars. So, gentlemen.
So this is Daniel speaking. When the Marlboro Ale transitioned from being run by the team to being run by committee, I was the squire of the ale for first many years. And Douglas noted how incredibly stressed out I was. It was quite the responsibility, and especially during the transition, because we were all trying to figure out how to make it work. Anyway,
some big changes.
It was big changes.
Yeah.
And so Doug said to me, I can't remember if it was the first year or the second year, the committee said,
It was the first.
It was the first.
Yeah.
Sunday night after the feast, let's you and I, cigars and whiskey, out on the porch of the student center, which we had set up the student center as a pub in those early years. And so we, after the feast that year, I believe, Doug, it was your responsibility to get the fine cigars, and I brought the whiskey. I think that's how it went down.
The thought was, when the feast was over, you were done. There was nothing left for you to have to worry about. The rest of the event would sort of wrap up, and this was your first chance to just kick back and enjoy the fruits of it.
So we did this, and it was in a public space, even though it was just the two of us that were planning on doing it. We kind of commandeered a corner of the porch, and people would come by, some would stop and...
Yeah.
So some people would stop by, hang out for a while, and move on, or some people stopped by and never left. And we had so much fun, we did it the next year. And the next year. And the next year. And we knew we had created something when one year I arrived and people were waiting for us.
And it was stories. That's really what it was.
We did drink whiskey and we did smoke cigars, but mostly it was people telling stories. And one of the great prompts, if not the best prompt, was tell us your most embarrassing story ever.
Does it look like you have everything you need?
Yeah.
And people, we go around, who's the circle who was ever there, and each would tell their most embarrassing story, and hilarity ensued.
We had some great
most
stories.
embarrassing dance story?
Some of which I wouldn't
just
repeat,
in your
but-
life.
Oh, dear.
Just
Oh,
people,
dear.
their most embarrassing story in their life.
Truth or dare, huh?
The cigars, in truth, were not that successful. I think maybe Dan and I would be the only people that would actually finish a cigar. A lot of people were curious, would take a couple of puffs, and then when I wasn't looking, they'd throw it in the bushes or something like that. The whiskey was definitely successful.
Yeah, and there were some years, particularly in those early years of doing it, where we would be there until the sunrise.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, so we'd be out there for 5 hours, 6
boy.
hours.
Quite a story.
Lots
swap.
of embarrassing stories.
It's hard to run out of
the really
embarrassing
good
stories.
ones, we would request people retell them, year after year. There got to be some stories that were just favorite ones to hear.
Well, the best traditions just sort of evolve naturally.
Right? And it came to be known as porching.
What?
porching as a verb. People would say, "Where are you porching this year?" Because at one point we lost the student center, so wherever we were was the porch. It may be a picnic table out in front of the dining hall, but we would refer to it as the porch.
Excellent. Thank you both.